Hi, I'm Daniel Licus, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest, one of his advocacy to seek link, bridging spiritual insight and practical strategy, none other than Mr. Caleb Matthews.
Thank you, Daniel, for having me on the show.
Welcome, Mr. Caleb. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
No problem. With the C-Link, part of my journey is indeed running as the founding director and owner of C-Link, my motivational speaking company, which is to help individuals reach the DNA of their personal design as created and given by God, and to be able to reach that alignment of the SSB method, spirit, soul, and body, in their own lives in whatever fashion that entails, no matter what country, no matter what creed, no matter what nationality, no matter what area. That is something to walk in. And the C-Link is all about seeing those links in the day-by-day nudges in the daytime and in the night season, and also learning from history and our entrepreneurial endeavors and the different seasons of life. That is the C-Link really in a nutshell. But I've been doing international public speaking for over 20 years, and this is something that just makes my heart soar with passion. And I'm calling our audience and speaking to the audience right now from San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, which is where I spend 6 months of the year running my other business, the Itinerant Oasis, which is a digital nomad hotspot for nomads and people who work online to have their own workspace fully equipped. But those are the two companies that I run.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Caleb. Thank you. And today let's talk about understanding the mysteries of the night season. So tell us, how do you define the night season and how do different from just string of the bad luck of ordinary sadness? What is the defining characteristics?
Defining characteristics of the night season is it's a big chunk of our lives. According to science, by the time that each person reaches 60 years of age, you'll have slept 20 years of that 60. So a big portion of our lives are spent sleeping and dreaming while our minds are at rest and our subconscious is awake. Our spirit is awake. And that's where I come with the SSB method, spirit, soul, and body, because it is my belief that every individual is a triune being. And one of the things in our world today, especially in the Western world, is there's an emphasis on the mind and the body, but not necessarily the spirit. And the night season, where the realm of dreams comes in, is a significant portion of our lives. And there's codes to be unpacked and mysteries to be unveiled. And this is something that has been a language of God speaking to man, to the spirit of the human being, since the dawn of time, for thousands of years. And dreams is this mystical language of a letter from the invisible to the visible that lands in our subconscious in the night season, and it can bring so much clarity to our lives.
Interesting, Mr. Caleb. So many spiritual traditions speak of the dark night of the soul. How is this night season not a sign of God's absence or punishment, but rather the potentially transformative?
Yes, the night season is a transformative gift and a accelerator tool because it's something that every person has. Every person dreams. Everybody's a dreamer. no matter what your view is on spirituality, where one believes where the source of dreams come from, everybody dreams. And the difference between that and the dark night of the soul is that soul and spirit are separate entities, in my perspective. People may have a different perspective, but it is my strong belief that the spirit and the soul are two separate entities, because the dark night of the soul speaks of the mind, will, and emotions that go through a transformative journey through the chaos and the struggles of life, the hardships of life. And that's in our human mind and our construct. But the spirit construct is really that internal. It comes from the gut, comes from the subconscious, comes from God, comes from spirit, comes from source. And I believe that every person on this planet has been created in the image of God, with a spirit that has a mind, will, and emotions that lives in a human body. And dreams come from our spirit. They can often come from our soul if we, for example, think about, I'm going to win the lottery today, and then I have a dream during the night that I win the lottery. Well, that's coming from my soul because I've projected that from my soul. But if I dream something that comes out of left field, maybe I get direction. Like Harriet Tubman, she was a famous runaway slave in American history that used her dreams that she received from God as a roadmap in the night season. Let me give you the example, and our audience an example. When Harriet Tubman decided she was going to be free and run from slavery, she decided to just go for it. And when her slave masters and her enemies tried pursuing her, she would hide in the swamps. Well, they had their guard dogs, shotguns, and soldiers and people trying to look for her, but she would hide. And she would have these dreams where God would speak to her and say, go to that house. That house is safe. That's going to lead you to the next place, and the next, and the next, and the next. And she followed her dreams of the night season while she was sleeping as a roadmap from south to north, all the way to Canada, where you and I both share a similarity. Because I understand you're from Canada, as I'm from Canada originally, but that's part of history. And we can see all throughout history and the Bible and the ancient fathers and the ancient mothers and our forefathers, where God spoke to them in the night season in parables. Because it says in the book of Job that God speaks one way, though another, though man may not perceive it. He does not perceive it while slumbering on his bed. And there is to be spoken of this focus of God speaking in our dreams to the human spirit. And that's the difference between spirit and soul, because soul comes from ourself, our mind, will, and emotions, but our spiritual influence, I believe, comes from God.
Mr. Caleb, tell us, if its night season is a teacher, what are the lessons it is uniquely qualified to teach us that we cannot easily learn in the daylight of prosperity and clarity?
I like that approach and that question. And the night season can teach us so much because it's when our mind, will, and emotions, the chaos of our minds, those neural pathways, all the thoughts that come through our day, when those thoughts cease and we're at rest and we're asleep and we're putting aside all the cares, all the busyness, all the to-do lists, and the things that we have, and the tasks and the goals that we have, this is what's happening while we're sleeping, is that our mind is most at rest while we're asleep. And therefore, lessons that we couldn't have received in the daytime because of our busy minds are able to be imprinted upon our spirit, upon our subconscious, upon our neural pathways of our subconscious in the night season, because our physical mind is most at rest. And these lessons start to unveil themselves in the divine tapestry and the scroll of the night season. And it's an exciting time because this is the time when our antenna is most up and our guard is most down. And when we are in that place, then we're most receptive towards what's going on underneath the surface. And the dream language of the night season is where this comes into play.
Interesting, Mr. Caleb. And a core part of this experience is often the feeling of divine silence. How do we navigate the profound disorientation of feeling like our prayers are hitting the ceiling and bouncing back?
It's important to stay patient because the returns don't often come right away. And we live in a very much a instant gratification culture, in my perspective, and I think many people wouldn't disagree with that, is that we live in a world, especially in the Western world, where people want something instantaneously. We want things instantaneously. In fact, by nature, as human beings, we're programmed to want to avoid the long road of suffering, of pain, of not having our prayers answered, not seeing our goals manifest right away. And really, when we walk the patient road and we're sowing into the long game, that really crosses paths and intersects with our dreams of the night season. Because the dreams of the night season is not something that one can learn overnight how to interpret their dreams. It's a lifelong journey. It's a long road. In my own life, I started interpreting dreams when I was 18 years old. I started dreaming when I was 6 years old. So I've been dreaming in the night season for over 32 years. And I've been interpreting dreams across the world in different countries as a public speaker in Africa and the Philippines and different countries around Europe and Central America and North America for 20 years. And this is something that's a long path. And I say all that to say this: it didn't come overnight. And it leads me back to my first point between character and gifting. And this is something that my mentor and friend, John Paul Jackson, often emphasized: character over gifting. In his book, that was one of my books, the most influential books, if not one of the most influential books that shaped my young life. And that is called The Art of Hearing God. And part of the art of hearing God is developing personal character. And that means before gifting, before the flashy stuff, before the quick moments, before those prayers being answered, before those giftings being manifest, the long route, the long road of character. And I want to say to our audience right now, listening right now, you may be in this place where you feel like you're hitting the ceiling, where things aren't happening right away. But don't be discouraged, because God is in the business of building long-term character. And when you have long-term character, that determines the height of your mountain, because the depth of your valley determines the height of your mountain. The length of your valley determines the amount of your influence. Be encouraged. Just because you don't see things right away doesn't mean that God's not listening or answering. Your character is being developed. So take heart and know that in the same way that the understanding mysteries of the dreams and of the night season takes time, so does your personal character and development in your life.
Mr. Caleb, in the night season, the old maps, our previous belief, plans, and identities often stop working. What does it mean to learn to navigate by faith and not by sight in its literal sense?
Yeah, what it means to navigate by faith and not by sight is the substance, the conviction of stepping out in belief of the unseen. Because faith is the conviction, the evidence, the assurance of things unseen. And we see all this through the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, talks about the hall of faith of all of our ancestors, of people who believed, and they walked by faith and not by sight. And many of these men, many of these women, they had that substance of faith where they couldn't judge by what they saw, but they had to step out. And in the same way, in the night season, it means stepping out. When we put our head on that pillow and we fall asleep and we trust that God is going to abide in our sleep, overshadow us, that the Spirit of God, the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the grave, is overshadowing our sleep, then we know that our dreams in the night season are being watched, in fact, being supplied by God. Because one of the names of God is called the Father of Lights. Another name of God is called El Roi, the God who sees. And he is the one that shares all revelation to all men, to all women. And part of this trust is not going by what we see, but what is in the unseen. Because that's part of what Jesus instructed. Do not labor for the things which are seen, for they are temporary, but for the things that are not seen, for they are eternal. And the thing about dreams of the night season, which is such a beautiful thing, is that they are eternal truths. I can open up my dream journal from many years ago, many dreams in the night that I had from many, many seasons ago, and still find meaning, because revelation from God is timeless. How do I know that? How do we know that? Because one of the names of God, he revealed himself to Moses at the burning bush. His name is I am. Not was, not will be, but I am. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am. That means that he is there with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's here with us right now. He's there in the future. And that means in our revelation. So in our dreams of the night season, these dreams that we receive, God is there, and God's still shedding light and interpretation for what we see in the night season.
Mr. Caleb, as the founder of C-Link, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
My short-term and long-term goals would be to impact as many human souls and minds and hearts as I can with the message of seeing the link in the mysteries of the night season and bringing that bridge to practicality in day-by-day living, which is to apply the code of understanding what God is saying in dreams of the night season, but also what's happening during the daytime and these different parables that are happening around us in history, through our entrepreneurial endeavors, through the sea links of our own life and our own lives, and make that known to people as much as I can, to encourage them to reach the DNA of their design, to reach the purpose to which they've been created by God. That's my long-term vision. My short-term vision is to impact as many people in front of me as I can, whether it's one person, 50, 100, 2,000, 10,000, whether it's on a podcast online like this one right now, or whether it's in front of people in a live audience, is to bring the light and the enlightenment that there is more than what meets the eye. There's more than what's on the surface, but there's a sea link of understanding the mysteries of this language of the night season, and to bridge that practicality of interpreting those riddles and mysteries and bringing that into our own lives. But those are my short-term and my long-term goals. And whoever's in front of me, to speak with as much passion and fire as I can to make people aware and bring an awareness that there is more to be seen and experienced than just the regular day by day.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Caleb, and looking forward for more success. So what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I would say to make sure that you step back and ask yourself this question: what is my DNA of design? What is my purpose? What is my link? What have I created for? What have I been created for? And to pursue that individual armor. I talk about this principle called the Saul's armor principle from a story from the Bible, and that is David and Goliath. When David challenged Goliath to fight him, Saul said to David, well, in order for you to fight the giant, you're going to need my armor. You got to put it on. And there's that peer pressure of conformity, of that con job, because con and conformity, there's the word con and conformity. There really is a con job of conformity that tries to pull us away from our individual God-given design. And for David, when he tried putting on Saul's armor, he couldn't do it. He said, I'm not built for this. I wasn't trained for this. And therefore he said, my faith is enough. My staff, my sling, it's all I need, because that's what God has trained me in, to fight the giants, to be able to see the link in my personal life, in my destiny, and my purpose. And he went on to kill the giant and win and have victory. But I say that all to say this: don't wear somebody else's armor. Have your own armor, your own DNA of design. Pursue that. Even if everybody thinks that you're crazy, even if the world thinks you're nuts, even if 99 out of 100 people think you're crazy, there's always one person that will never leave you or forsake you, one living being, and that is the Spirit of God. That is the overshadowing presence of God that is in your life, in your DNA of design. Pursue that. And when you pursue that, to pursue the purpose to which you've been created, then you can't go wrong when you're not conforming to the pattern of this world, to the clone culture. So I would say you can learn from me. I don't want anyone to become fully like Caleb, because if you try to fully become like me, you're not going to fulfill your destiny. No different than if I try to become fully like you, but we can learn from each other. So I would say pursue the DNA of your design. And part of that link, seeing that link, is in the night season. And I want to just speak to you. If you are somebody that wants to dive into your dreams in the night season more, I encourage you, keep a journal next to your bed, because it builds within your subconscious an expectation that you're going to dream, that you are going to have that art of hearing God, that expectation, building that personal character, and hearing from God in your dreams and following your dreams in the night season. It takes time. So build those roots. Keep a journal next to your bed. Look at your dreams. Engage with them. Ask yourself, when you receive a dream in the night season, what is this a picture of? And take that before God. Take that before your higher power. Take that before the Spirit of God. And look for interpretation. Look for understanding, like Daniel did. You know all things. Wisdom and power are yours. You know what lies in darkness and the hidden things, and light dwells with you. When you put this before God's feet, and say, God, I need your understanding. I need your wisdom. I need your clarity. Then this is the place you want to be in. That is where you're pursuing the DNA of your design, the purpose to which you've been created, your own communion with God. Pursue that, and you can never go wrong.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Caleb. Thank you. And can you please recommend a book of books that influence you, Johnny?
Yes, The Art of Hearing God would be the book that one of the ones that mainly influenced my journey. But the main book above them all would be the Bible, of course, as you've heard me speak about different examples from different books in the Bible of the heroes of faith, of those who walked on before us, the men and women in the Bible, in the Old and New Testament. In fact, the whole Bible, a third of the Bible, are dreams, visions, and supernatural experiences in the night season and the daytime too. But these are experiences that are all throughout the Bible, from page to page, from cover to cover, from Genesis to Revelation, from Jacob's ladder all the way to John's pearly white city in Revelations, all the way to Enoch walking with God, to Jacob's ladder, to Issachar's burdens, to Shiloh, to Samuel's horn of oil, David's slingshot, Elijah's mantle, Elisha's staff, Hezekiah's sundial, Isaiah's fig pole, Peter's shadow, Stephen's signs and wonders. All these examples of biblical history and history of people who walked with God before us. That is the main book, of course, that has influenced my walk, as well as, of course, The Art of Hearing God. That's a great book about developing personal character. But you can never go wrong with looking into the Bible, of seeing how God speaks in dreams and visions of the night season.
Mr. Caleb, thank you for the two recommended books. So, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 in its fourth season, Science 101, Text 101, second season. I'm a baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Caleb, for someone listening who is deep in their own night season, feeling lost and exhausted, what is the one truth you could whisper to them to help them to take the right way or the right path?
I like that. And that is the one truth that I could impart and remind every listener right now who is listening to this podcast. The one truth I would recommend is that everybody is a dreamer. Everybody dreams. This isn't something for the elite or for the higher class. There is no class distinctions. Every human being in every country, in every culture, has dreams in the night season. And I'm no more special than you are, and you are no more special than me. We are an equal playing ground. Dreams are the great equalizer, because scientifically we all dream. And whether we remember them or not is another story entirely. But I would encourage you to walk forward in this truth, declare this truth over yourself, that I am a dreamer. I am a Jacob's ladder. I am a conduit. I am a receiver for dreams in the night season. And when you walk in that expectation, that faith expectation of the evidence and substance of things unseen, then your dream life is going to take off. Don't look at dreams, if some of you are thinking right now, that it's just for somebody else. It's some special group or somebody who learns about them for many years, like I have. Nobody is arrived. Nobody's arrived. It's not too late to start. You can delve into this language of understanding dreams, because everyone's a dreamer. And I encourage you, if your heart is sparked, if your ears are sparked, your eyes are just brightening, and you're like, I want to learn more about this, understanding mysteries of the night season. Now I encourage you to follow me on YouTube at the C-Link, And I've got more content on there about understanding dreams, of seeing the link in your dream life during the night season, as well as the links in your day-by-day lives, that the Spirit of God, that God is speaking to you at the C-Link. That's my YouTube channel. And of course, you can find me on www.calebmatthews.net. And I can definitely connect with you further should you want to pursue more training and more understanding in this method.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Caleb Matthews, because if you support him, pursue more and more empowering advocacy like this to come. So, Mr. Caleb, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.